Dear participants, now I will be focusing on the part 2 of lesson 2. This one is about stakeholder communication, how the project team will be communicating with the stakeholders. So there are some communication tools and technologies. One is meetings, and meeting can be physical or virtual. So in the physical communication we speak, so there are verbal communication. We also do verbal communication through the telephones. So these can be tools of communication, and it can be physical or it can be using digital technologies like website. We can put all the information in the website, people can read it. We can use social media, they can see there. We can send instant text messages to the stakeholders, or we can use the phone or other platform or email them. So these are the some technologies or tools to communicate with the stakeholders. And then we have to keep in mind, whenever we are talking physically or virtually, we have to keep in our mind about our body language, the gesture and posture, and we can use the whiteboard writing. So, and we have to keep about the in mind about the culture and other issue too. So there are some challenges, or you can put some considerations whenever you communicate with stakeholders. If there any urgency, you have to check the availability and reliability. When you are making a meeting, if the stakeholders can come to the meeting on time, and about their location, and how they are easy to use the virtual and the technological devices. Because if you call a meeting virtually, and if the stakeholders do not know how to use technologies like Zoom, you cannot do this kind of meeting virtually. And you have to keep in mind about the environment, the language, the formality, the sensitivity, and you have to assure that there will be a confidentiality. So data will not be leaked, not will be used by other people, and there will be a data protection. You will be following strictly the data protection laws and regulations. So this kind of assurance can make the stakeholders comfortable to share the views. And for addressing these challenges, you have to review the meeting processes. You have to recheck what sort of meetings, what sort of methods in communication can be better for this team or for the stakeholders. So you can use multi-faced communication method like social media, website, and of course, whenever you are talking, just analyze your stakeholders and see what is their culture, what is their trends, and what is their age, in which generation they are belong to. So based on their generation, culture, environment, location, you have to talk with them, you have to behave with them. So your gesture, posture, language, and tone should be controlled in a fine manner, which will be uh, befitting with your audience or stakeholders. And the next one, I'm talking about the communication methods or models. Number one is push and pull method. That means push-pull method means, in push method you can send, just for example, you are sending email to 100 stakeholders. So you have emailed them, this is pushing, so they will be receiving it. On the other hand, in the pull method, you will just put your information in the website, in the repository, in the in the documents, or in the store references, or in any databases, so people can find it and read it whenever they need it. So this is called pulling method. You can remember two examples. Emailing, that means pushing. If you put everything in the website, that means pulling, because people will be using it whenever they need it, so they will pull it. So that's why it's called push and pull method. And then there is an interactive method like conversation, physically or virtually, messaging, or making a workshop. So if you call a workshop and bringing all the stakeholders together, they can share their views. Or you can collaborate with them. You can use whiteboard. You can put the whiteboard in a room, in a common place. Everyone is coming and putting their views there or notes there. So whiteboarding is better in agile team. And another one is sender receiver model. What is that? Whenever we send something, either by email or by speaking, we are talking something, so we are sending. Whatever I am sending, it's encoding. And whoever receiving it, actually he is decoding my message. So there will be a difference between whatever I am sending and whatever received by the receiver. So encoder, I mean the sender, sends something, and receiver, that means the decoder, actually receiving something. So between them there can be some differences. So this variance is called the noise, the transmission. So if you see this graph, encoder is sending something and decoder, the receiver, is receiving something. And after receiving, he is sending something, encoder, and again the receiver receiving same thing, but there will be some difference. So the gap happens, why? Because of communication disruption. If it is through online, there can be some disruption, network disruption. Another gap happens when there is a gap between the culture or environment. For example, if I work in a cement factory industry, I know many terminologies, concept, but common people who are not from cement industry, they do not know these terms and jargons. So there will be a gap. Another is about culture or religion. So whatever I believe and I am familiar with my culture and religion, other people who is from other religion, other culture, other environment, other location, they are not aware of these words or concepts. So actually, in terms of environment, location, culture, communication technologies, there can be some kind of gap, and this gap is called noise. So we should try to reduce the noise whenever we will be talking or sending any message to the audiences, to the stakeholders. We have to keep in mind what is the stakeholders perception, what is the level of education, what is their environment, what is their culture, what is their level of wisdom, knowledge. So based on that, we have to choose our words, sentences, and communication methods. So stakeholder engagement strategy are, actually there are many, but what we have to do, we have to involve them, number one. Then we have to enable them. Who are not capable, we have to enable them. And then we have to create a stakeholder engagement process, and we have to make a plan to engage them, and we have to maintain the relationship regularly. So there will be iterative process. It is not like that you have started and you stop. No, you have to continue the relationship in the iterative process. And there you can make a stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, what we call CM. By making CM, actually you are putting the people, the stakeholder, in table. You can divide them like unaware stakeholder, resistant stakeholder, neutral stakeholder, supportive stakeholder, or leading stakeholder. See this one in the table. You can make this kind of table. So in the left side, you have put the stakeholder name and then categorize them. Some stakeholders who are not who are unaware about the project and everything. So this is one group. Another is as a system. They are aware, but they are not giving to implement this project, this idea. So this is another group. And some people are neutral, not positive, not negative. and some other stakeholders are very supportive. On the other hand, some people are leading. So what we have to do, you see underneath this slide, a current engagement level and desired engagement level. That means you have to try to make the people who are under the unaware, resistant, and neutral, you have to send them to the supportive and leading. So these some people who are unaware, resistant, neutral, you have to make them supportive and leading. So if you can bring this unaware and resistant to the neutral or supportive, that means this is your achievement. So unaware, resistant, neutral, they are not actually supporting or leading. So you have to bring the stakeholders who are under the unaware, resistant, and neutral column. You have to bring them to the supportive and leading column. And that's your continuous process. Once you have brought all the stakeholders in the supportive and leading, that means you are doing good. And of course, some people will not be supportive. So at least try to bring them at the neutral process so that you will not face any kind of negative uh, block from any side. You can continue your project goal. So this is the part A of lesson 2, and in the next video I'm coming with lesson 2 part 3, part B. Thank you so much.